Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. I am so happy that you are here. I'm Melanie Smith Simon, founder, owner, and CEO of SmartMe Educational Products. It has always been the direction of SmartMe to help children build a strong foundation in math and reading in their early school years, before middle school. But after COVID, something that had been lying dormant in me for many years welled to the surface within me, and that was to make a difference in learning at home. It has been almost a year now, and I can't believe it, but I did a video being obedient to God at that time, where I shared that He had moved me into my purpose and that He had put me on assignment to use my voice to help change how we as a society view education and whose responsibility it is to teach our children. There has to be a shift. There has to be a shift in the mindset of how parents, grandparents, families, and even teachers in schools view education and learning. Get this, at home. At home. Not only in schools, but at home. There has to be a focus on that. So many of our children are behind and struggling academically, and even more so since COVID. And let's be abundantly clear, many children were behind and struggling before COVID, and it's been a recurring problem for decades. And just to give you some perspective on it, my perspective, there are about 90,000 public schools in the United States. And of those approximately 90,000 public schools, about half of those schools are Title I schools. Title I schools are schools and school districts with a high percentage of students from low-income families, usually underrepresented minority groups, Black and brown kids. These students start school academically disadvantaged for many different reasons, whether their basic skills are not being met, parents are working multiple jobs, there's no parental support at home, they're not exposed to books and reading, and the list goes on. There has even been federal education enactments since Lyndon B. Johnson's Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, which was essentially a civil rights law designed to combat the educational inequities all the way up till today. And what have those acts really done to serve the people they claim to help? And don't get me wrong, I 100% believe these laws are necessary, but there should be some real results, right? Some major success stories of how many schools have been turned around, especially after almost 60 years. But look around you, and you'll see that most of the Title I schools designated even back then still exist today, with many more built over the years. And let's not even talk about the condition of some of the schools. What's my point? My point is schools can't do it all. Schools won't do it all. Schools have never done it all. And schools will never do it all. Ever. That is a fact. And it's time that we really get this point, or many of our children will continue to be behind and will continue to struggle. As long as we are depending solely on a very flawed system to provide our children's educational needs, we will remain just as we are. I looked at the 4 key principles of the No Child Left Behind Act under former President George W. Bush. And the requirements under that act became increasingly difficult and essentially unworkable for schools and educators to fulfill. Duh. But the 4 key principles of No Child Left Behind, when I read them, literally blew my mind. And I thought to myself, what if parents lived by these principles? What if there were commercial after commercial after commercial emphasizing these principles? And if there were programs implemented for parents to drill these principles in? What if? Here are the 4 principles school administrators and educators had to go to work every day with these in mind. Every child can learn. We expect every child to learn. We must hold ourselves accountable for every child's education, and we must assess whether every child can read and do math at grade level. But what if these principles were for parents? My child can learn. I expect my child to learn. I will hold myself accountable for my child's education, and I will assess and make sure that my child can read and do math at their grade level. In fact, I want to challenge every parent who doesn't already live by these principles now to start living by these principles today. Start putting them into practice and watch and see how things will change for you, your children, and their education. My child can learn. I expect my child to learn. I will hold myself accountable for my child's education, and I will assess and make sure that my child can read and do math at their grade level. I love it. We have to intentionally change how our children are learning. Learning begins and continues at home. It does. Home is a child's first classroom. And guess what? The doors never close. So what does the classroom look like in your home? What does learning look like in your home? We must create a culture of learning at home. We must. I will go so far as to say we must create a culture of love and learning at home. Love and learning at home. Yeah, that part. Love. The love part is very important. It matters. So what does creating a culture of love and learning at home look like? What does it mean? Well, culture means a way of life, a lifestyle, a tradition, placing high values on something. So creating a culture of love and learning at home is creating a lifestyle of love and learning at home. It's creating a tradition of love and learning. It's starting now with my children, your children, and the tradition will pass down to their children and so on. Love and learning will be the way of life at home. Learning is what we do, and high values will be placed on learning at home. That's what creating a culture of love and learning at home, smart me style, looks like. And that's my assignment here on this channel, to encourage it, to share things as a parent who actually created a culture of love and learning at home with my 4 children, all of whom were and are successful in school and in college. I'll share as an educator with my experience in multiple facets of education, and I'll share as an advocate, having advocated for my children from one end of the educational spectrum with gifted and talented children to the other end of the spectrum with a child with intellectual disabilities. So I am excited to finally be on this channel, and on my birthday, it's my birthday, I hope that you will tune in, and that you'll support me. Healthy, fruitful comments are welcome. If the comments are not healthy and fruitful, please don't bother to comment. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, and share, and I'll be back with y'all soon. Thank you.